Welcome back, everyone, to the Player First podcast with your co-host, Coach Leo, with the Football Domain Academy, and myself, Coach Fernando, with Tempo Soccer Academy. If this is your first time watching, I'd like to welcome you guys to our podcast here. And the main mission of our show here is to help educate players and families around the world, specifically club players, to achieve another level of success in their games. So before we go on with today's episode, Coach Leo, how is everything out in London today? How's everything been?
It's all wet, Coach Fernando. It hasn't stopped raining since last week. So we are all
typical weather.
Yeah, typical weather. But apart from that, it's been a good week. We had training yesterday. So a good turnout yesterday. Got training tomorrow with the boys, and then the older boys have a game on Sunday, which fingers crossed the weather dries a bit and we can get the game on. But yeah, apart from that, everything's going well. And yourself? How are things in New York?
Good. It is actually a nice day, unlike over there.
Man.
There's some sun out today, which is great. And it's supposed to be a decent weekend, I think, a nice weekend. It's the Columbus Day weekend over here. So Monday, when this show airs, will be a holiday. And so there's a tournament. There's tournaments this weekend, so I might head out to the fields to some of these tournaments and check out some of the games and some of my players.
When I was in the US, the fall season was always my favorite one.
How come?
I don't know, because I used to do so many camps in the summer and it was so hot. And then the fall, it obviously starts to cool down.
Yeah.
And I just love it. Like the whole leaves falling, the tournament weekends. So it's really good. But here in this country is completely different. Here, over there, the fall is generally quite dry still, but here it's like the complete opposite. It's just wet, just rain. But yeah, I do miss the fall season in the US.
Yeah, fall is always a great. Here, it's great soccer weather.
Absolutely,
especially here where I am in New York, it's great soccer weather. So you're right about that. Yeah. But moving along, so. Today, we're talking about a really, really important topic, which is getting more playing time and how players can get more playing time. And, you and I both know as coaches, there are a lot of players on various teams that may struggle to get as much playing time as maybe some of their teammates. And in order to develop and to get to another level of play, it's really important that you get the game time, right? Because if you're not getting in the game, you're not getting that time against real competition. It's just a little more difficult to develop, right? It's a little more difficult to learn the game and develop your game. So first thoughts, Coach Leo, on, I guess, the first thoughts on getting more playing time. What's important about that, or what would you say to players? Just first thoughts.
Yeah. Great topic again, and a topic I can really relate to, especially when I was younger, because the team I was on when I was, if I recall, I was about 13. So the first season I was a regular starter. I was always playing. But then the second season, our coach started to recruit more players and I ended up playing less. Now, as you were talking, like memories came back of those Sunday mornings where it was freezing in winter. You'd wake up, you're excited, and then you'd play like 10 minutes of a game.
Right.
And ultimately it gets to the point when that keeps happening, you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to the game. What's the point if I'm not going to play? Right. So obviously playing time is key, because the more playing time you get, the more experience in a competitive environment you're getting. And the more playing time, the more you develop, right? As a player, you don't develop sitting on the bench watching others. You develop by doing. So it is difficult. It's very difficult for some players, and it can create a lot of frustration. You know, and as a coach, and you know this as well, you can't please every single player on the team, right?
Right.
You can try and do your bit by keeping everyone equal, providing that equal playing time. But in a game, sometimes some player is going to play more than others.
Right.
It might be, you know, you're not intentionally keeping a player on the bench, but it's just the way it is, right? A game is short, and sometimes if you have a really big roster, then, you know, you can't promise everyone the same playing time. So I think it's just a case of, if it is a reoccurring thing and you aren't consistently playing, but you're doing like the fundamentals, which we are going to talk about, and you still aren't getting playing time, maybe you're just on the wrong team, right? You're just in the wrong environment, and maybe it's time to just go and find a club. You know, that happens at the pro game so many times. How many times have you seen a player that doesn't play, but then changes to another club and is always on the starting 11?
James Rodriguez.
James.
my boy.
Yeah.
He's killing it right now.
He's killing it at the moment, exactly. That's a great example of
Right.
one of, you know, thousands.
Many, yeah.
So what about yourself? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's really good perspective, you know, you've obviously had those experiences too, which is, it's important, because I think a lot of players do have those experiences. You know, personally growing up, I was usually getting a lot of playing time, so I didn't necessarily have that issue. My issue was more about confidence and stuff, but I do see how, you know, there are players that do struggle with that, and they don't get a fair shot sometimes to get that development, especially at such a young age, where games and tournaments, and, you know, of course, winning is a part of development. I do believe that. You can't ignore winning. You know, it is a competitive thing, but sometimes that's almost put ahead of the player's development, and giving them that opportunity to shine, to develop. Now, at the same time, I think players can be doing a lot for themselves to get ready for those opportunities, to be prepared for those chances, for when maybe they do get a chance, or maybe you know, a few starters are not available for a certain game. So I think there's a lot of things that, even though you may not be getting the playing time, you still have to prepare yourself as if you are going to get the playing time, because you never know when that opportunity will come. And you have to be ready to play your best when those opportunities come, because that one opportunity could change the rest of your season, or going forward the rest of your playing career as well. So I want to, first thoughts would be to players out there and families out there watching, don't just give up and get discouraged if you are not getting that playing time. Maybe you're only getting 10, 15 minutes in a game. Keep preparing yourself, keep improving yourself, because there will be an opportunity for you, whether it is at the same team, the same club, or maybe like you said, it might have to be at another team or another club that does see your potential. But either way, you have to be prepared for those opportunities.
Correct. This morning, I actually wrote a blog on my website, and I talked about the differences between a pro club and the grassroots club. So obviously, if you're at the grassroots level, the whole purpose of it is development, right? Development, participation, just generally having fun. Now, when you get to a pro club, so a pro soccer academy, that's like, it's a completely different environment, right? Because coaches aren't there to treat everyone equal. They're there to pick a few of the best players so they can push them into hopefully the first team in the
Right.
future. Now, something parents think is that because their child is the star at the grassroots level, that they're going to be a star once they get into a pro academy.
Correct.
You know, because they think, right, if he's the best player in this, then this must be similar. But
Right.
what I talked about is basically this is two completely different things, right? And coaches are completely different. At the grassroots club, you know, a coach should be about participation, treating everyone equal. But at the elite level, which it's at the elite, you know, coaches don't care about you as much.
Right.
Because they just want results. They want performances. And if you're not good enough, unfortunately, you get let go, you know. But basically, it comes really, it's really related to what we're talking about because, as you said, you could be the star player at your grassroots club, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the star when you go up to the next level.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. And it's all about just consistency, right? Being consistent. Even if you are playing every single week, know that things aren't forever. You know, things change. You could get an injury. A better player could come in. You know,
Right.
you could change coach. A coach that went maybe liked the way you played, but then a new one comes in and he thinks, do you know what? I don't like your style.
Right.
You know, so a lot of things happen, but you've just got to always stay consistent. And even though you've reached the top of the mountain, it's hard to keep it to stay there.
Right.
Because
right. No,
you're always going to have people trying to climb to the top as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point for you know, families and kids that are looking to play at higher levels to think about. You know, once you get to a certain level, it just becomes more and more competitive.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important. But to me, it's all about making sure you're prepared for that type of environment, and you know, treating yourself now, no matter what level you're at, as if you are at that top level.
Exactly.
Right.
100%.
Training yourself, treating yourself, doing the things that the top level players are doing. Do those things, right? Be that player now. Don't assume, well, I'm not at that level, or I'm not playing with that competition yet. No, do it now, because one day that opportunity will come, if that's what you want, of course.
Yeah.
But it will come. But you have to start treating yourself and training yourself and doing these things right now.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And preparing for that. Yeah. So I guess moving on to be a little more, I guess, tactical or strategic with how players can get more playing time. You know, one of the things that I like to tell my players, and just any players watching out there, would be to focus on things that also don't relate to skill or talent on the field necessarily, but focus on the things that you can do and you can control, no matter how skilled you are. Meaning, one big one is, and I know we talked about this a little bit before, being the hardest working player on the field.
Yeah.
Right. Consistently showing up and just working harder than anyone else.
Yeah.
Sprinting harder, tackling harder, you know, giving just more effort, and clearly giving more effort than any other player on the field, being that hardest worker. You're going to get noticed. And coaches want hard workers, right? You and I both want hard workers on the field. We want players who are going to go all out. And if I know that there's a player like that, they're going to get more playing time, because if they're out on the field working harder than anyone else, most likely they're going to find some level of success, you know, obviously depending on their skill level, but they're going to find some level of success just by working hard.
That's it.
What are your thoughts on that?
100%. And I can think of one player, I don't know if you would agree with this, but Puyol, right?
Oh, I love him, man. He's one of my favorite defenders.
Old Barcelona centre-back. Personally, I don't think he was skillful at all. But he was just everywhere. And he worked so hard. Like, nothing goes past him. He's just a leader on that field, right?
100%.
And he looks after his body. You look at him, like, he's well built, he's quick, athletic. He's just that leader on the field, and that isn't because of his skill level, right? Because if it was because of his skill, I don't think he'd be in the starting 11, to be honest with you, because I don't really think he was a skillful player.
Right.
But he was efficient at what he did.
Right.
Which was, obviously, he worked really hard. He was intelligent off the ball. And he was intelligent, you could say, on the ball as well. You know, he played simple. So, yeah, that's just one example of many that you can think of players that aren't skillful, but they're always in the starting 11 because of that work ethic.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's a great example. And I think you said a really key word there, which is leader. He was a leader by example, right? You can be a leader just by working harder than everybody. Absolutely. Because what starts to happen is now the coach starts to notice you, and may point you out to the rest of the team. Hey guys, let's go, like, let's follow such and such player's example. Let's all work as hard as they can. Right? That may happen. And you may also catch your teammates' attention by just working that hard. Like, wow, man, look at them. Like, geez, they're working super hard, which I should work harder too. So I think leadership is also another way to start getting more playing time. If you could become a leader, and again, not necessarily being skillful or talented in that way, but finding a way to be a leader to your teammates, whether that be, being the communicator on the field, making sure everybody's on the same page, communicating with all your teammates, or maybe it's helping your teammates with something that they need, or I don't know. I know you gave the example before, we were talking about if two teammates have an issue with each other. How can you help the situation and be a leader in that scenario for your teammates? So I think finding ways to become indispensable to your team, finding ways to become, we need this player. Like, this player provides something for this team that we need in a leadership type of way. I think that can become very, very big, especially at higher levels, because you need leadership. Teams without leadership, they don't win. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I look at the team I follow here in the UK, which is Arsenal. And, when I watch them play, you don't feel like there's a leader on the team. There's no one really that you can say, right, this guy is the heart of that team. He tells players what they should be doing, or he picks them up when they haven't been working hard, or when they've missed a pass, or when they should have been doing. So, 100%. Leadership is key. It's important. And if you, as a player, become that leader, you already become one thing that not many people want to do.
Right.
Because no one wants to be a leader, right? No one wants that sort of attention.
Responsibility, and that responsibility.
Exactly. So, 100%. And once, as a coach, you want a leader on the field, because you can't play.
Right.
You're on the side. You can tell players where what they should be doing, where they should be, but ultimately they need to work it out for themselves, and that is really the beauty of soccer.
Yes, agreed.
It's a game where you've got to work it out for yourself.
Right.
So when you have that player on the field, who you could say is like your assistant, is doing your job for you.
I was just going to say that. It's your assistant coach, right? Become the coach on the field.
Correct.
Right. If your coach knows that they have a leader that can echo, how you as a coach think, that coach is going to put you on the field because you become an extension of the coach.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to be a leader, encourage your teammates, like you said, pick them up when they're down, or push them when you need to push them. Your coach is going to give you that time, because coaches need leaders on the field.
100%.
Yeah. Really great stuff. So what is another tactic or idea that players should take away with them to try to get more playing time? I mean, so far we covered being the hardest worker, and being a leader. What else would be another strategy here?
I think something that I always look for is showing up, right? Showing up to every training session. Not just arriving on time, but arriving early. Okay. Because I believe if you arrive on time, you're late. Okay.
Right.
You're not enthusiastic. If you arrive early, means you're enthusiastic. You want to be there. Okay.
Right.
Because as a coach, I don't know about yourself, but me, I'm there very early.
Right.
But that's just because I'm enthusiastic when I go into sessions. Like, I want to coach. I want to be around my players. I want to see them get better. And that should be the same with players, right? If you're the first player to every single training session, a coach is going to notice that, and they're going to be like, oh, do you know what? This kid loves it. He wants to be here.
Right.
Okay. And that alone puts you above everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's just a simple, easy way. If you're there first every single time, I mean, not only is your coach going to notice, but your teammates are going to be like, man, they're always here before me. What the heck is going on? And, that coach will pick that up, and it'll just speak to your character and you wanting to be there. And coaches want players that want to be there. There's a lot of, I don't want to say there's a lot, but there are some players on some teams that maybe don't show their interest, or don't show they want to be there, even if they do want to be there. And that can sometimes turn your coach off.
Yeah.
Right. It can turn your coach into, well, I guess if you don't want to be here, then I'm going to give the opportunity to somebody else.
Correct.
Right. And so if you're that player that's showing you want to be there, you're enthusiastic, you want that play time, it might just come your way.
Yeah, 100%. And I remember when I'd done one of my coaching licenses, I had a tutor who I really got on with. Like, I actually admired the guy because he was a very good teacher, and he was very knowledgeable at what he does. So something I noticed is that when I'm with a group, it's very hard to get that personal attention. So I said to myself, right, I'm going to make sure I'm the first one there. So then when he's preparing, or when he's arriving at the class, I have that extra 10 minutes to just talk to him, to ask him questions, because and a coach will give you their time. If you show an interest, they'll give you the time. So
absolutely.
So that's what I started doing. And I gained some amazing knowledge of him, and some things that within a group, you couldn't, like the coach or the tutor or the teacher couldn't give you that. So just by arriving early, not only does he see you differently, because he's like, right, Leo's always here. He loves it, man.
Right.
But they start to give you that attention.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And that attention turns to the playing time.
It's all strategic, Fernando.
Real strategic. Exactly. And I think going off, changing, going back to one of the previous things we said about working hard and being the hardest worker, I think one way to do that on the field is, once you get that opportunity, is, if you lose the ball, like, one thing I look for as a coach, very specific, it's a very specific thing, but if you lose the ball as a player, are you working your what off right away? So, right, the bleep. Are you working your bleep off to win the ball right away? Yeah. Or did you just lose the ball and just let them go by you like nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I want to see that effort, that attitude to win the ball right back. Like, you should get upset that you just lost the ball, but not upset to the point where you don't do anything, upset to the point where you're trying to win it right back, right away, and work super hard defensively.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had mentioned earlier to me, work hard on defense.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this? Because I know
No, I love that. And a player that we both love, and he's superb at this, he's a bit old now, but it's Carlos Tevez.
Yes.
Right? How hard does that guy work on and off the ball?
Oh man, insane. This guy's an animal. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, go Google him. Yeah. He's an Argentinian player, Carlos Tevez. He played in Europe, a top level player. Go Google him.
Yeah. And he's a fantastic example because he just works so hard off the ball to win that ball back for his team. Right? And that is an example of someone that is committed. Right. Just committed, right? I've lost the ball, or my teammates have lost the ball. I'm going to close him down until we win it back.
Right.
And me as a coach, if I see that, I'm like, I'm not taking this player off.
Right. How can
he's going to have to ask me to come off because he's exhausted.
And that's exactly the point that we're trying to make here is you want to become indispensable. You want your coach to have no choice but to keep playing it. Right. And so this is one simple way to do it.
Yeah. I can't say that was me when I was younger, but I'll use Tevez as that example.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was a much more attacking type of minded player when I was younger. Yeah. Now when I play though, I do that now. Like if I lose the ball, I work my off to go win that thing back. And I think that's a super important trait to have if you want to get that playing time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And, I guess similar point would be even at practices or training, sometimes there might be things that you do repetitively, right? Maybe it's a warm-up that's similar each time, or maybe it's a certain drill or exercise or whatever. Sometimes it could get really easy to just go through the motions of it and sort of not be present and not try your best, not give your best effort with it. And I think if it's something that's very simple or something that you do all the time in practices, don't just go through the motions, right? Don't just like be there and just like pass the ball, and be focused and engaged, even in the simple, repetitive things that you do. Give everything your effort, not just, the new things or the difficult things, but even the simple, easy stuff. Be focused and engaged.
Yeah. Play with a smile and work hard.
There we go. Oh, I love that. Coach Leo. I think we got to start the episode. That was fantastic.
Oh, Fernando, you always fall in love with me every week.
It's just what you say, Coach Leo. It gets me. Very romantic.
That's it.
Oh man. But I mean, what else would you add? Would you like to add anything else as we start wrapping up the episode?
No, the last thing I'd add to this is something I told a player that I'm working with one-on-one yesterday. He said it early in the episode is, don't take your position for granted. Okay, like you could be the star player today, but tomorrow you might not. Okay, for whatever reason. Okay, so and something I said to him is like the hardest thing about being a starter is maintaining that position, right? Because you're always going to have someone on the bench who's he's hungrier than you, right? Because he wants to take your spot. He wants you on the bench. So the hardest bit is maintaining in that starting lineup, getting that playing time that you deserve. So don't take it for granted. Keep working hard, and always approach things with a mentality that someone wants to take it from you. because when you do, you just keep consistent, right? And even if, you know, there's no, your position isn't in danger, but I think it's a good habit to have because it keeps you on top of your game, keeps you progressing, it keeps you developing. So that's the only real piece of advice I can give to sort of finish up with just always approach things with a mentality that someone's going to take it away from you.
Yeah, I love that. And
because that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't settle. Just keep working.
That's it. Well, then you got Coach Fernando on the bench that wants to take your position. I had to bring it up, man.
How'd you know? Oh man, no. But on the flip side of that, I'd like to add to that is be the player that is going to hunt down the players ahead of you.
Of course, yeah.
Be that player that is working as if you are that top level player. Because let's say you're on the bench right now, you're not getting that play time. That's okay. Keep working as if you are that player that is getting that play time. Work as hard, or if not harder than them, right? And in your mind, hunt those players down, right? Be on a mission to outwork those players, to get better than those players. And if you're doing that consistently and you have that hunger, it will happen. It'll just take some time, you know, but if you're doing the right things, you're working hard, you're practicing on your own, you're being a communicator, a leader on your team, these things may take time to develop, but they will develop. You just have to stay consistent with it. And you're going to start to take people's positions. You're going to start to, and it's not even about taking people's positions. It's just about you earning your position. Right.
And I loved what you said at the beginning when you said, like, train as though you are at that top level.
Yes.
Because, you know, I think even for a coach, I can relate to that because, you know, even as coaches, we need to prepare our sessions. We need to make sure that our sessions are pushing our athletes.
Yes.
You know, so we alone need to be growing every single day in our profession. And it's the same with players.
We need to act like we're Premier League managers here.
That's it. You know, we've got to act like we are Pep Guardiola.
Oh, yeah, man.
Maybe not a great example because, you know, he's not doing very well at the moment. But he is an awesome coach.
We'll go with Bielsa then.
We'll go with Bielsa, exactly. My man. You know, and I think it's a great mentality to have, even if you're not, shall we say, a serious player. Because, like we said previously in previous episodes, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Bingo.
You know, so if you don't take your football, your sport seriously, then you're not really going to take your studies or your life seriously, because everything, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right. Agreed. Agreed.
Take things seriously, work hard, and keep moving forward.
There we go, baby. I love it. I love it. Awesome stuff. So before we wrap up, you know, I just want to make sure any families that are watching that have gotten to this point, any parents that have gotten to this point, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. And if you would like to get in contact with us, please feel free to contact us. We will leave our social accounts on the video or in the description. You could contact us if you have any questions about anything, or if you're a player and you need some help, some guidance, or if you're a parent of a player and maybe you need some guidance, please feel free to reach out to us. We love helping out players from across the world. And yeah, we're always here to support you guys. We're here to be your coaches.
That's it. We're here to change the world.
That's it. One player at a time.
One player at a time. One episode at a time.
One episode at a time. Here we go.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Yes. All right, Coach Leo. Have a great weekend. Hopefully that match goes through, and hopefully things turn out well over there. But have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.
Awesome. You too. See you later.
Take care.